Hello, my name is Peter Royal with Performance Inspired Training, The Pit. And what we're going to go over today, this is for the final project for the ISSA Strength and Conditioning Cert, is the training of one of my high school baseball players who will basically be doing a workout that's in the latter stages of his preseason, meaning pre-competition, pre-games, where he's preparing to go into his competitive season. As you can see, we're going to use some methods that are conducive to that in terms of power, speed, different types of force production, and the different planes of motion as well. Baseball being a rotational sport, there's going to be some elements of that. Baseball being an overhead sport, there's going to be some elements of that. And not only just drills that support that, but also the general strength drills, the lifts. Go step by step through the warm up for our day 2 today. And John's going to start with a reverse Y reset. Now this is a method called RPR, which we're using this for basically tissue preparation in a way in such that we are affecting the body's electrical system through neurolymphatic spots. So we actually use this and we corroborate it with movement. This particular movement here has been known to affect hamstrings flexibility. After he does this, then he's going to go through a basic good morning, a hinge exercise. So you can stop. Yep, go ahead. Chest up, chin forward. Unlock the knees as you go back, John. Boom, right there. Good, nice flat back. That's a lot better. Awesome. Cut it, chin. Good. All right, next we actually corroborate with some sort of movement of displacement as opposed to the static movement we did there. This next one's going to be a forward low push, and it's just basically going to prepare him how to push from a basically athletic position. In this case, John's going to go backwards. So if he were playing the field in baseball, he might have to take a step back or what have you. This is going to basically corroborate to that position. So, John, you're going to get in here. You're going to be in a low squat, and you're staying low, and you're hopping back as far as you can, trying to do a 2-leg catch, meaning hitting 2 legs at one time in the catch. There you go. That's pretty good, John. One more. Good. Keep going, John. Cut. On with our tissue work. We're going to hit our lat spot, and then we're going to do a downward dog push-up. A little bit further up, so remember the elbow.
It's quiet.
Yeah, it's early. Good. And right here, John's trying a regular push-up technique, but he's using the hands, pushing the hands on the floor simultaneously. The hips are coming up, and he's working on getting a really long and a T-spine here. So he's really getting those shoulders warmed up because we will do some overhead movements today. Next one's our lateral low push, and again, he will end up doing like 5 per leg here. So again, lateral position. Again, baseball being a rotational sport, you're always going from the sideways to forward or sideways and continuing sideways into that rotation. But again, low push, hopping out. Boom. And this is a movement that can basically carry over to any type of cut, as well as a change of direction from a static position or when you're changing direction from any type of movement. Go ahead. Good. 1, 2, angle off for the last one. Angle off that way a little bit because we're out of room. Good, perfect. Next spot John's going to get are his psoas and his glute pattern, and he's just going to do 10 squats. Just getting to that for, I guess, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, after they land. Style here, yep. And John's just basically doing a basic squat exercise, prisoner style. The reason I like prisoner style with any type of overhead athlete because it involves their scapula and their upper back and allows the T-spine to get in proper technique, as opposed to if their hands are out front, they might have a tendency to kind of roll their shoulders forward. Again, this is taking that low push technique we just used, and we're going to use it for more of a specific motion, especially for himself. So rotational low push, he is basically going to go from a backward position, okay, and he's going to push and land in a sideways. Okay, then he's just going to reset going backwards, and the other leg can go there. So in this case, he's going to alternate legs going all the way to about a 10-yard distance. Good. pushing off the right and twisting left. So again, in any of these exercises, you're always pushing from the off of that opposite leg to go into the direction that you want. So again, if you're going to the right, pushing off the left, vice versa, the other way. Good. He's gonna hit is his L scrub, and then he's gonna do corroborating a T push-up. This is again for shoulder extension. Yeah, just gonna push up again, regular push-up technique. You see John's pretty good at it. He's opening up into a T. You can see him, he's gonna hold it here. Feet are pivoting that way, or the same way he's facing. And this is great for just shoulder stabilization, kind of teaching his trunk to coordinate with his shoulders in a rotational movement. So rotational low push coming from the side and then landing forward, probably one that's going to corroborate more to that first step in base stealing. And again, he's going to go 3 per leg. Going off the other leg, obviously this is more of, you know, the base pads in here. Now this way, maybe him turning and running and going to get a fly ball or something of that. Johnny's a field player as well as a pitcher. Yeah, I might even. So the next spot is for his lateral sling, which is going to obviously be involved in any type of lateral type of motion stabilization for him, but it could also involve obviously the pushing to the floor, swinging, throwing, cutting, stealing your base, taking off. Good. The warm up on this end after he did his reset, his tissue reset, his wake up drills, whatever you'd like to call them. John's going to do a series of speed lunges. The first one is just going to be a forward speed lunge off an auditory cue. So we're going to involve a little bit of cueing here. So whenever I clap, he's going to start in good bucket stance. Hands are open, chest is up, toe is up. You can see he's in a nice strong bucket stance. When I clap, he's going to do a reverse lunge. Boom. You can see he's going off of each one on the clap there. And then we're just going to carry that right into a lateral lunge again. This is more of a rotational day for us, a theme of lateral for us today. So we got to warm up the movements as such. Okay. So right there, he's got to get that leg longer. Yep. Let's try that again. Push. Good. You can see he's snapping back. Good, done. You see John kind of was a little bit awkward on a rep there. The great time in the warm-up is a chance to clean up all of those ill movements so we don't have them when we're actually on the training floor. The speed bound, again, we're going to try to amp up the warm-up a little bit here, put a little bit more neurological stress on him, or really it's not really stress at all, it's just priming that system.
Going for height.
Distance. So again, this is a speed bound. What we did is we want kind of max distance there because we were in that kind of phase where we want that displacement going forward, his output going there. He'll do it on the way back. Good. See, John's got some nice, long, powerful movements there. Very violent action of his foot hitting the floor, which is what we want. We'll just do that 10, 15 yards twice, and then that'll be that. Drill. This is getting more into our SBP, our specialized physical preparation, or specialized strength training, however you want to call it. For a thrower, this is our lying discus throw, and what John's going to do, he's progressed on from a pause motion to now he's going to have more of an active lower. And you can see he's starting with his knees to the ball side, and he's going to whip the knees over, basically simulating a lead with the hips. And it's very important for all throwers to learn how to separate the hips from the upper shoulder girdle. And this is one drill where we can actually teach those things. So when he does apply it to throwing on the ground, he's learning that strength skill. The first lift of the day, this is just going to demonstrate a warm-up set here just so I can take your time and explain the what and why. Low box step up with a yoke bar, or what actually was known as the Hatfield squat bar. In this case, John's able to hold it here without any, you can take it up, John, without any excessive rotation in the shoulders, which kind of protects him. He's still able to get the load on the spine. Okay, go ahead. So we're going to go foot over on a lower box. Okay, so again, we want to get that other leg going up. Okay, right, yeah. So step down. Good. Good. And on this particular step up, it's a lower box that's going to affect the specific joint angle to more or less his start position as you would go to take off for a ball or running the bases from a dead stop position from the feet off or whatnot. John is going to immediately pair it with, as you can see, he's dropping from a depth to get that stretch shortening cycle in those muscles. It's a very powerful contraction, train his elasticity. As soon as he hits the ground, he's going to jump sideways. Again, kind of specific to a baseball player, we're always taking off from that side angle. So I chose this variation of a long jump. Oh, there he goes. In lieu of a straight ahead long jump, just so we can apply to a little bit more movement specific forward. See Johnny's getting out pretty far. He's trying to, each time, get out further and further. You can see when he's hitting the ground, he's immediately reactive. Good, John, good. Just for basic chin-up exercise, again, I'm choosing neutral grip for John. Because he is a baseball player and he's going to basically throw, this sort of angle here is going to be kind of his ball release a lot of ways, so it's going to affect the lat differently in that angle than it would wide or, you know, regular chin up. I'm going to corroborate these with some power exercises and throws that I feel kind of carry over to or complement the strength exercise. That particular throw is a variation that we have worked up to. We were doing normal overhead throws. In that case, I was throwing it to him to make it a little bit more plyometric. Again, working the stretch reflex of the upper body. This goes right in line with specialized exercises of Verkhoshansky that are of the plyometric regime. Again, especially say for this latter end of the preseason when we're going into competitive season, we want to get more specific aspects of the throw or things in the gym that we can apply and transfer to the field. To the workouts, the back half here, what we usually call it, a little bit more general strength exercise, and we're going to get some problem areas. Not some problem areas, but stuff that we like to drive. In this case, glute strength. We're going to use the classic barbell hip thrust, a la Reactive. And we are going to be on an even quicker clock. I think it's E90 on the 90, meaning every 90 seconds he's going to go from one lift to the other. In this case, it's a 4 exercise set. John going with the barbell hip lift. 5 reps is all he's doing. 1, 2, powerful. 3, 1, 4, 5. Put it down. It's going to be a sled drill. He's going to do a high-low, or a low to high wood chop here. And with the sled, go ahead, Jim. He'll do a step in almost like he's batting. Separate his hips and kind of pull his arms close to his body, and then he'll finish through almost like he's swinging a bat. Now obviously John's righty, but we're going to work both sides there. John, get a little bit more turn from the back knee initially, right? So once you step back knee, so this is a sled transition. I use this often in our back half cycles. The cool thing about the sled is there's no eccentric stress, and then we can also resist from the horizontally, not necessarily horizontal plane, but in this kind of specific plane where balls are thrown, bats are slung, etc., etc. So we can add some form of, specialized strength as well as just, no eccentric stress. Sled stuff's very simple to implement, and it's only limited by your imagination. Good. Good. John. Jump. Jump. There you go. Push off that back toe. There, that one. Good. Okay, keep going, John. The landmine rotational jerk. You can see he's starting from a sideways position and kind of going up. Almost resembles an uppercut, so there's some applications, maybe like a fighter or a boxer. But again, any type of rotational athlete that they're throwing an implement or their arm with one arm. This is a good exercise of transference in that case. Not to mention there is obviously an overhead component, which typically physical therapists or coaches have been afraid of with baseball players. In this case, it's not a true overhead because we're looking at it from a 45-degree angle. We still want to go overhead because the serratus muscle, which is often associated with dysfunctional shoulders or functional shoulders, is most activated when the hands are overhead. So we want to train it, obviously within the context of safety and within the context of specificity. In this case, the landmine jerk allows us to do that, as well as put a rotational component in there, which is going to add some timing to the whole thing. Twitch. Good. Front toe, pull it up, just like you're sprinting. There you go. Twitch. There you go. So you got the spinal lengthening. Switch. Shoulder traction. Switch. Hanging is an overall great restorative tool. It's a natural stretch. Switch. And then we got the pelvic alignment. Perfect right there. Done.